Stephanie here, and I wanted to do a real quick flip through for you guys. I've been working in my Note to Self little junk journal mini album. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've seen some little reels and things I've done with how I put together my journal. But I wanted to give you a flip through of days 1 through 7. I'm a little more than halfway through, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you half of it, and then I'll do another video later once I finish working through the entire kit. But in case you hadn't seen, this past month, By the Will for God created a mini album kit. It was really awesome. If you haven't seen it or don't know what I'm talking about, if you go back to my unboxing video for Note to Self, you will find a little clip in there where I went through all the pieces included in the mini album kit, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I hope they do some more of them because it made it so easy to make this album. It's super sturdy, really professional looking in my opinion, way better than my first one. So this is the second book I've done, and it made it so much easier, so it's really great for beginners. But so yeah, I covered it with fabric here, did a second piece of fabric on the binding. You can see here where I sewed in the signatures, and then I kind of I took some of this lace here, which I had already in my stash, and actually this lace is actually a bright white color, so I wanted to give it that antique look. So all I did was take some of my old leftover coffee that was sitting in the carafe and stuck it in there for a little bit, and to give it a really nice antique look to it. So real quick and easy trick you can use for paper, fabric, all kinds of stuff. Coffee is awesome in more ways than one. Okay, so that's what I did here. Add the little tag on the front. So let's go ahead and flip through days 1 through 6. Or sorry, days 1 through 7. Let me carefully untie this. Okay. Okay, make sure we got it all in the frame. Okay, so I started off by another thing that was available this month were these little mini folders. So I took one of them, stuck it on the front, and that's where I've been keeping all my cute little printables and things and some other things tucked behind it in front. So it's real nice and handy, and I can just pull from it on the day that I need it. Here's a little title page I created with August 2022. Really simple and easy. This is the stamp that came with the kit, so I just stuck that on there, and a real quick, easy title page. This is day 1, and this one was written by Tom. So use some modeling paste in the background here for these florals. And this right here is one of the printables, so I just stuck that in my typewriter, taped it down, and typed up some of what Tom had in his devotional that day. And also use some washi tape to make this card flip up. I have the verse on the back, and then some prayers and reflection right there. This page is actually one that I had coffee stained a while back. So I sewed this type of paper in with the cardstock. This is just the regular color of the cardstock that came in the kit. So those are the two types of pages I have throughout the book, are the cardstock that was included, and then this coffee stained paper I made. And then added my colors and things with the different coordinated papers in the kit. So I just added a fun punch to the side there. And then day 2 for Anne-Marie. This was a fun one. I really enjoyed. This is just again the cardstock background, and I did some black embossing. You can see the fun shine on there. I simply stamped my the noteworthy florals right here. I used that with, and I'll share this because I've gotten a lot of questions on Instagram. I used just Versamark watermark stamp pad, which is clear. It's just a clear, basically like a glue type thing. And then I just used black, where did it go? Oh, here it is. And then I just used some basic black embossing powder. And it gave it that really pretty shine, and it really pops off the page of the cardstock. and then just kind of distressed this little verse card, added the little Nouveau drops there. On this side, I took some scrap paper. This was not from the coordinated paper kit. This is just something I had on hand. And I only glued down the corners, so it left it up to create this little pocket here. So I have all these little pieces here tucked in. And then I added just a little bit of washi tape to the top of these cards, and it kind of made like a little tab. And then all my verses are on the back there. And then I wrote a little bit of reflection there. And then they just simply tuck in there. So those are a really easy way to add a bunch more notes without cluttering up your page too much. So that's one thing I found I really enjoy about doing these mini albums, is all the different ways you can make little pockets to tuck things in, because you're working in a limited amount of space compared to a Bible page or something like that. So this one is day 3. This is Jess's page. And so for this one, she was talking about the good portion, focusing on Jesus, and how our days tend to get super cluttered with to-dos. And I mean, we feel the pressure every day of trying to do everything, and there's just not enough time in the day. And we really need to make sure that we make the time to focus on Jesus and be in God's word, not leave it to the last minute if we get around to it. So I created this little to-do list, tore up some real plain notebook paper there, so that was fun. Made a little grocery list, some of the to-do things I have on my to-do list sometimes, a little stamp pad or a little sticky note type thing. So we did all that there, and then I took a piece of vellum and taped it in here and used the floral remembrance stencil. Where is that? Let me see if I have it on hand for you guys. Yep, I use this floral stencil here for the little bit of the bluish green flower you see in the background. This piece right here, this little die cut, is actually from Pleasing in His Sight kit. So that one was not in this kit, but being as we were talking about focusing on Jesus, made me think about like really zooming in, focusing in your camera lens. So I stuck that one on there too. So I kind of like the idea of, here's your to-do list, but hey, focus on Jesus. He's the center of it. Cloud out all the rest of the things that make us busy and crazy, and make sure to make time to focus on Him as well. And these little pieces here, these were fun. I took, let's see, Lindsay Decor had a really cool tutorial on how to make antiqued tape, like for things, and she used some alcohol inks, which I didn't have at the time, on washi tape. And I don't have many washi tapes I really wanted to use to look like vintage tape. So what I did was I took one of my scrap pieces of sticker paper. So if you have clear sticker paper that you use to put in your printer and print on things, there's always scraps left over. Like, you can never use the entire thing. So this was a really fun way to use up those scraps. And I just took my dauber and, some distress ink of whatever color you might like to use. I believe this one I used Vintage Photo, which that is perfect. I used that one, kind of rubbed it on there. It didn't need to be perfect. Actually, the more imperfect, the better. And all I did was cut a little slip of it and rip the edge. So it kind of gives you that worn, ripped off tape look. I didn't want it to be flat, and stuck that on there. And that's just a really fun, easy detail and a way to use up some of your scraps. So I enjoyed using that one there. And then again, use the little pocket folders to add little bits and pieces of my cards. Stuck a little pin in there. So that is that page. That is day 2. Let's see, was that 3? Okay. So here's day 4. This was my day in the devotional. It was really nice to have the opportunity to contribute to this devotional this month. It was an honor. I was a little overwhelmed at the thought at first, but I'm really glad we got to do this. It really turned out to be a great team effort from everybody. So what I did for this one, I took my little person, I cut it out of the little postage stamp thing we had here. Wrote some notes, and this side I used the pattern paper. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you saw I did a little reel with a tutorial on how to make this fun little typewriter and then this little pull-out note card. So if you haven't seen that, be sure to check out my Instagram. The link is in the bottom of this video, and it explains how to do that, because as you can see, you don't see it on the back here. So do I still have it? Let me see. I think I still have the paper I used as an example. Yeah. Okay. So here's the one that I used in the reel. And I showed you the back so you can see what happens. So I just took the typewriter, glued it down. I created a slit right there in it. And then you cut the page, you cut a separate piece of paper to the size that you want to fit into your typewriter. And then it's going to just go behind the page. Except the last step is to glue another sheet of paper to the back so it will cover this. So then you can just freely pull it in and out and you won't see that piece in the back side. So you can still do your journaling and everything on the back. So that's what I did here. I have this piece glued on top of this paper, and then the back side is actually the cardstock paper. So this piece I put in my typewriter, pulls in and out. That's fun. And then it's going back behind here, so you're not seeing it on that back side. So yeah, that was a fun one. And then we have day 5. This was Gail's page. I tried to use some little details here and there reflective of the style that some of the ladies on the team have. So when I saw these little scissors, I was like, I have to put it on Gail's page. If you know Gail on Instagram, she's Patio Ponderings. And she is a fussy cutting queen, which I made that little note right here. She loves cutting all the little tiny bits and pieces, which I personally can't stand, but she loves it. So I put the little scissors on there for her day. And she talked about people pleasing, and I've struggled with that in my life too. Still do. I've gotten better at it. So her part really touched me too. So I wrote down some of the things that Gail talked about in her Devo. This little piece here was one of the printables as well. So I simply wrote right on that. And then I had this little tiny envelope that I used. I added a little wax seal right there. And then I have it up like this. So if I can get it, I have all of my little verse cards right in there. So that was a different way to use the pocket. I've got my verses on the back, and it just tucks right in there. And so that was another little fun way to do those pockets on this page. And then day 6, this was Missy's, and she was talking about an abundant life, and I really enjoyed hers. This one, I took the paper here, I added a second page of paper, tore it, and then that's how I created the pocket on this one with all my cards behind it there. So that's that pocket. And then I also shared this on my Instagram stories if you happen to see it. I was stamping directly on this page, background page right here, and as I was stamping it out, I completely missed the N and was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? I totally messed it up. And then I remembered, don't sweat it, just cover it up with something else. So again, this regular notebook paper came in handy, and I actually ended up loving it more than what I had originally planned. It added some more depth to it, kind of pulled in the white from over here, and it helps tie in the white, which is why I decided to do this piece on notebook paper again. It all kind of helps pull everything together. But had I not made that mistake and chosen to cover it up, you know, it wouldn't have turned out the way it did. So a little lesson there: if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Don't scrap your page. It'll be fine, and you might even end up liking what you did to fix it even better. So that's the story behind that page. And then up here, I just did the notebook page, and I used my little what's that little thing called? The little hole punch to create that edge and tuck it back down in here. And at several places throughout this, I have taken these really big verse cards and straight up used them as the pocket. So this one I did add a trim around it to pull out the blue in this card. And all I did was glue down the 3 sides and leave the top open so that there becomes a pocket. I think that's the first time I've used it so far in here. I did use it a couple of times later in the book. So that's another pocket for you there too. This is day 7, and this was Lindsay's day, and hers was all about trusting God, learning to trust the Lord. A lot of us, I mean, everybody I think has struggled with this at one form, way or another, and it's just giving God all the power, like sitting back and being like, okay, a lot of this is out of my control. God, I know you are powerful, and this is really all up to you. I just need to learn to lean into you, trust you, bring everything to you, and relax. So we've all struggled with that at times. So this one, Lindsay does a lot of typing on her typewriter, so I included that here for her. And then I just took a little piece of paper that I had from where I did my own coffee dyeing, which added a really fun little that's a naturally distressed edge right there. I did not add that with my ink. So I glued that on top there, and then this piece in the back is what I used for my pocket this time. Just a simply torn piece of paper, and then left the top open to add my cards in there. And then this one, I went a little bit of a different route on this side, very different than the rest of my book, because I had read Lindsay's Devotional in the morning, and then as I was in the car running errands that day, I heard a song come on the radio, and I can't think of the name of the song at the moment. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, but there's a verse in the song, and I didn't quote it exactly on here. It's just similar to trees planted by the water don't fear the fire. And I thought, I mean, it completely, in that moment I heard that song, I don't think I'd ever heard it before. And that little phrase immediately tied me back to what I had read that morning about Lindsay and trusting God and trusting in the Lord, thinking, you know, these trees are planted right by the water. God is living water. He is what gives us life. And the trees by the water don't fear the fire around them. All the craziness that can happen in the world, they're cool, they're calm, because the water is right there. The water is their support. And that really stuck with me throughout the day. So I wanted to do that here. I attempted to watercolor a little tree. Watercolor is not my strength, but I was trying to make it loose. So I have the water down here. I used the watercolor card that was available in the kit for these colors. And then I used some stamps for these two, and then put it in my typewriter for the other portion. And then this page is actually one of my coffee stained pages. And given we were talking about fire for this rough edge, I actually did take a little lighter to the edge to burn it. So it really gave it a raw, burnt edge on the bottom, like a realistic one. And then for the top here, the tape, that is exactly what I was telling you about earlier with the distressed tape that I created. So that was another fun little detail on that page too. So that is day 1 through 7. As you can see, I've gotten some more stuff done behind it, but I will save that for a second video so this one doesn't run too long. But I hope you guys enjoyed my little flip through of the first half of my mini album. If there's anything you saw that you have questions on, you would want more detail on, please let me know in the comments. You can also find me on Instagram. Like I said, my handle is below. Some of the things I referenced, I have shared on Instagram if you want to go on there and check it out a little more in depth. But if you have any questions at all, please let me know. Send me a message. I'm always happy to help. And I hope this video gave you a little bit, maybe some ideas of things you could do in your own for this kit, or maybe the next kit, or anything really, your junk journal, mini albums, whatever you decide to do. Hopefully gave you some little fun, creative ways that you can add it to your projects as well. But that's all I have for you today. Stay tuned. I will have the second half of this maybe next week. I'm doing my best to try to finish working through it. I think I have 3 more days left, and then I will get a second video up for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped. Send me a message if you need me. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around. Bye.